sausages, Chanel and Josiah. We are going to be talking about famous voodoo stories that made the news. Let me know if you guys want me to do more of these, but today we're going to be talking about 3 stories in particular, and we're going to kind of dissect them and talk about how they may be true or may not be true, and why a lot of people may actually believe these things when they may not actually be tied to voodoo at all. Now, of course, make sure you guys smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, smash everybody know that can help a sister out. Make sure you guys subscribe to the main channel and also join the Discord. Now, one story we're going to be talking about today is about a 5-year-old child that was essentially disciplined in a Haitian voodoo ritual. This story is from the Washington Post. Just listen to this mess. A child was taken to a voodoo practitioner for discipline. Police say she will be permanently disfigured. Now, things like this really annoy the hell out of me because in the Black community, we already know Black people do not believe in mental illness for the most part, okay? Not all Black people. There's a lot of them that like to demonize mental illnesses, and for the most part, there's a lot of kids that may be dealing with a lot of undiagnosed mental illnesses. So, to be honest, the kid is fucking 5. I've had so many people come on like my main channel in particular and try to like say things about like how they've done this, that, and the third to their 5-year-old or their 3-year-old, and I just be sitting there like, you do know your kid is a kid, right? We need to understand that kids are kids, and for the most part, there's a lot of things they're going to do as they are children. A lot of people like to think that if you tell your kid something is right or wrong, they're just gonna automatically do it, when in actuality they're a fucking kid, right? If they get to a certain age and they're still doing something, I guess. But for a lot of Haitians in particular, they feel like if the kid is still doing something, oh, it has to be loa, okay? It's the spirit, it's voodoo. Someone cursed me, someone cursed my child. So under the picture it says, Rachel Hilaire and Peggy Labossiere in court in Bridgewater, Massachusetts on Thursday are accused of tying down and burning a 5-year-old girl in a voodoo ritual meant to rid her of a demon they said caused her to misbehave. Cause of the girl's misbehavior was obvious, the woman said. There was a demon inside her and it needed to come out. It would not do so willingly. So the woman Peggy Labossiere, 51, and Rachel Hilaire, 40, of Bridgewater, Massachusetts, bound the 5-year-old's feet together and tied her hands to a long stick over her head, preventing her from resisting the voodoo ritual that followed. According to a police report obtained by the Enterprise, a Brockton, Massachusetts newspaper, the Labossiere kissed the girl all around her face like a snake, the report said, then used a pointy object like a needle to cut the girl on her arm and around her collar, drawing blood. For those of you who practice, please comment down below. What kind of goddamn ritual is this? To be quite honest with you, I have never heard of any rituals that consisted of hurting children at all in this manner, whether there's a demon in them or not. In terms of, I guess, trying to discipline a child that may have a demon in them, this is not how you do it. I don't want to give away too much information. But to be quite honest with you, it sounds like they was trying to do some other shit. It sounds like they was trying to kill that child for some other shit, and they tried to use voodoo as an excuse. Comment down below if you agree or not, but this is insane. Poor child. The kid was 5 going through all of this. Labossiere blew flames from a burning stick over the girl's face. She also put oils and at least 1 caustic chemical on the girl's head and in her eyes, causing a burn that doctors say will cause permanent disfigurement. They literally injured this girl for the rest of her life due to their ignorance. Why can't people just parent their damn kids, bro? I personally don't understand. Like, why is it that automatically if your kid is misbehaving, it can't be your fault? You can't talk to your kid, you can't look at what you may have done, look into anything that you may have exposed this child to. You have to automatically turn to, oh, let me go and try to rectify this behavior by spiritual, other type of means. Just why? People like this will never cease to amaze me. This is so fucked up on all types of levels. Like, this girl must have went through so much shit. Labossiere also allegedly worked voodoo on the girl's 8-year-old brother. When he resisted, she threatened to cut his head off with a machete. Some people shouldn't have kids. Labossiere made him undress and rub his entire body with a plant-like substance and blew fire on him. It's unclear what caused the police in East Bridgewater, about 25 miles north-south of Boston, to ultimately intervene. But when they arrived, both children smelled of smoke, the AP said. Jesus Christ. They were taken to a hospital. Lavoisier and Hilaire are both charged with assault after being arrested in mid-January. Hilaire is accused of aiding in the ritual by holding the children down. The children's mother, a hairdresser who has Lavoisier as a client, was not charged, although she was taken to a mental hospital for evaluation. The children were taken into custody by child welfare authorities, police told the AP. All the people involved are of Haitian descent, including to the children's mother. The public defender for Lavoisier and Hilaire could not immediately be reached for comment. Of course not. The siblings had been told they were going to Lavoisier's house for a sleepover. According to the AP, the woman told authorities that they performed cleansing baths for friends and families for years. During such practices, they chant prayers and rub eucalyptus oils, frankincense, myrrh, and sea salt on people's bodies. Burns are part of the rituals, the sister told authorities, saying they happen as evil spirits are leaving the body. Hilaire and Lavoisier remain jailed. They have another hearing Wednesday, which will determine if there will be a danger to the public if released. I'm gonna have to go ask my parents or a couple other people about this one, because I'm like, burning kids and shit, never heard of it. Long a popular horror movie trope, voodoo is an Afro-Caribbean religion that originated in Haiti. Niggas don't know how to fucking research. Haitian voodoo comes from Haiti, obviously, right? There's different types of voodoo. However, voodoo does not originate from Haiti. It comes from Africa. It was originated from the Haitian slaves, okay, who were imported from Africa. Essentially, it is a mixture of a lot of different things, but to say that voodoo comes from Haiti is inaccurate. It comes from Africa. So people should really do their research before they, you know, write these articles. So there's that. It's practiced in many countries in the Western Hemisphere. Jesus Christ. It started with slaves who combined the aspects of West African traditions with the Catholicism they were forced to adopt by the masses. Okay, I guess that, okay, that part is accurate, but that other part, yeah. Okay, I guess they kind of try to fix it with the next one, but to be honest, just the way they wrote that, poor usage. As the Washington Post Sarah Kaplan wrote in 2015, the faith is revered for its role in Haitians' successful struggle for independence from French rule. Like Christianity, voodoo has one god, but in practice, the religion bears much more resemblance to the traditions of West African slaves who founded it. Spells are cast, animals are sacrificed. One of the religion's 401 spirits are invited to possess followers at raucous, colorful ceremonies, but aspects of the religion have been appropriated and distorted for horror movies or to sell voodoo dolls, potions, and broomsticks to tourists. Abso-fucking-lutely, and it's disgusting and annoying as all hell. In 2015, the Post Karen's tumulty reported that former President Bill Clinton had written about a day he and Hillary Clinton saw voodoo in practice near Port-au-Prince, Haiti's capital. The priest gave the visitors what Clinton described as a brief course in voodoo theology, and then the late afternoon ceremony began. Let me just tell y'all this right now. Lots of times people in Haiti in particular like to fuck around with white people and other tourists and give them fake voodoo ceremony type of situations just to be funny and make money off of y'all. So if you ever go to Haiti and people volunteer to give you voodoo type of experiences, just know they're literally laughing at y'all asses, and most of the shit they doing is not accurate at all. After several minutes of rhythmic dancing to pounding drums, the spirits arrived, seizing a woman and a man, Bill Clinton wrote. The man proceeded to rub a burning torch all over his body and walk on hot coals without being burned. The woman in a frenzy screamed repeatedly, then grabbed a live chicken and bit its head off. Then the spirits left and those who had been possessed fell to the ground. I'm sorry, that's a whole crock of bullshit. They literally just gave them what they wanted. And honestly, I understand that that might be part of the reasoning as to why a lot of what we hear about Haitian voodoo is negative and just ridiculously outrageous and honestly not true. But to be honest, in order to, I guess, protect what has been true, I feel like it's necessary. It really is necessary. Haitian people have been demonized. Haitian voodoo has been demonized for centuries. And I feel like at this point, niggas just don't want this shit infiltrated, okay? I've been doing these Haitian-based videos on my channel for over a year and some change now. And I constantly get emailed, DM'd with people who are nowhere near Haitian trying to get information for their papers, for their books, for their this, that, and the third. And it's mind your fucking business, watch the video, get entertained, and stop being ignorant. But I'm not gonna sit there and give you all the information. Even my videos, I don't give that much information. I literally give enough information, enough for you not to be ignorant and enough for you to hold the conversation. These videos are for entertainment and informational purposes only. They are not here for you to go out and practice, because if you paid attention to any of my videos or did your own research, you would know that Haitian voodoo is not like any other religion. All the voodoo religions are different, but the main thing they all have in common is you cannot just, oh, okay, let me pick a law, let me practice, let me join today. It's not just like going into a Christian church and just saying, hey, I give my life to God, let me join. It's not the same. So realistically, me making these videos is not sitting there opening up the realms of people doing it. If your dumbass want to sit there and go think you're going to call Papa Legba, Mama Brigitte, or Aiza, or Marionette, or whatever the case may be, and you think that's who you're talking to, you think that's who you're serving, you want to go play with demons, that's your problem. More than likely, if you go and take one of my videos or anyone else's videos and you're trying to call on them, they're not coming to you because you didn't do anything properly. You're most likely talking to a demon who you think is Elmora, who you think is a deity, when in actuality they're fooling you and they're using your energy, and they probably gonna kill your dumb ass. So if you go do some stupid shit, that's on you, but don't blame it on me. Like I said, I'm just here to give information. That's really about it. This is not for y'all to go out and just be dumb. What y'all do is what y'all do. Now, of course, the main problem, like I said with the story, is the kid is fucking 5. A 5-year-old is more than likely not going to understand the ramifications of the consequences of their actions. You can tell a 5-year-old yes, no, maybe so, but until they grow up and actually go through some type of life experiences, they're not really going to always do what you say. I would assume most people watching this are Haitian. We already know Haitians are fucking paranoid, okay? You had bad luck today, it's a law. Someone slashed the tires of your car, it's a law. Your man cheated on you, it's a law. Nothing could ever just be what it is. Everything is always a law for these people. Haitians blame Haitian voodoo for all the bad things that goes on in their life. And this could be A, either they practice and they know they're shitty people and that's why bad things happen to them, or B, because they're just paranoid. Haitian people really are the most paranoid people I know. Like, you know how many times my parents have told me I can't do something or I can't go somewhere because they had a dream. They have a rev, you gotta take the rev serious, which, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes it's been a little freaky. It's like, oh shit, like, damn, my dad had a dream. Like, one time he said I was gonna get hit by a car, and then all of a sudden the FBI car almost hit me a couple of days later, and I'm like, what the fuck? Shit was weird, because I ain't listened to him. He told me I couldn't go outside, and I went outside. But, you know, it's just, it's little shit like that. So maybe, the kids should have been taken to a mental health professional in order to be diagnosed, okay? I don't understand why the fuck it's so hard for people to literally take their kids to mental health professionals. Like, it's not that hard. Your kids would do so much better if instead of you cursing them the fuck out and beating the shit out of them for getting an F, you took them to a tutor. Instead of you literally beating the shit out of them for misbehaving in class, you literally went to go see if they had ADD or ADHD. Instead of getting mad at them for talking back or catching attitudes or literally raging in the house, you went to go get them checked out for a possible anger management issue. I don't understand why people can't do that. The whole discussion of mental illness and learning disabilities needs to be discussed in the Black community as a whole. But the Haitian community, it's even worse. I don't even think there's a word in the Haitian Creole fucking language. Please correct me if I'm wrong down below. I can't think of any mental illness or any type of learning disability that you can actually translate in Creole. I might be wrong, but even if I am wrong, it's honestly not talked about as much, and that's clearly why I don't know. So please correct me down below. But to be honest, that's what should have been done. I feel horrible for these kids. But nothing is worse than this next story I'm going to talk about. Now, this story comes from SILive.com. Before killing his kids, man wrote of a curse used by fiance's family. Mom says it's not true. This article was updated January 4th, 2019. However, it was posted August 31st, 2006. So, this story I remember hearing about a long time ago. After killing his children, Frantz Board ended his own life by leaping in front of a subway train in Brooklyn. This happened in Staten Island. I remember hearing about this. I do live in Jersey, so of course I definitely heard about this. In one of 7 suicide notes, France Boards wrote that he was cursed by voodoo, and the cops say that his belief cost his 2 children their lives. Tormented by the obsession that his fiance's relatives were scheming to ruin him, the 39-year-old Haitian native snapped Wednesday night, drowning their young son and daughter in the bathtub of their apartment at 30 Daniel Low Terrace in New Brighton, police believe. Boards then went to Brooklyn and jumped in front of a Q subway train, ending his life, police said. They're using everything they can to destroy me, most of all, voodoo, Boards wrote, according to police. But Francoise Mercier, Boards' fiance and the children's mother, called that claim a lie last night. No, it's not true, it's not true, she said in an interview with The Advance. He's always been jealous about my relatives because they loved my children so much. He lied. You cannot make those lies. There are so many people I know who are so paranoid and they claim that there's a law after them, there's people doing this, that, and the third. And to that, I have to say, they might be right, they might be wrong. I feel like some people are so paranoid with the idea of people doing voodoo on them that they literally let it ruin their life. They literally let it drive them to the point where it's like, at that point, the person doesn't even need to do voodoo on you because you are so fucking obsessed with the thought of them doing voodoo on you. That's literally enough, right? That you do some crazy shit like this. Jealous of the relative situation. I've heard this numerous times with like Haitian men. I've dated a lot of Haitian men. My current man is Haitian. He doesn't have jealousy for shit like that. I don't think I've ever been with a man that was ever jealous of my family or jealous of anything in that type of regard. But I have seen other people get in relationships with Haitian men that have been kind of like controlling and kind of jealous or like didn't want their significant other, you know, their wives to be around their family. So that might be true, but to be honest, for it to be this serious for you to kill your kids and then kill yourself, I don't know, sis. You're not saying anything. You're not saying anything of value here. It's not mathing. Miss Mercier, 42, also a native of Haiti, found her 2 children, Schweitzer 4, who was born September 11, 2001. Ooh, child. That's an interesting day to be born. And Stephanie 2, lying lifeless next to each other in the bathtub. Shortly after she got home from her health aide job at St. Elizabeth Ann's Healthcare and Rehabilitation Center in Stapleton late Wednesday, the city medical examiner's office yesterday ruled death's homicide by drowning. Mom asks why. Why did you have to kill me? Why did you have to take away my joy? Why do you have to take away your children, your flesh? Why? She said Boards didn't do anything strange before she left work. He changed Stephanie's clothes and gave her yogurt to eat and she left. She called home at about 8:20 p.m. when she went on break, but no one answered the phone at the apartment. When she returned just after 11:30 p.m., she found a ring, which she called a wedding band. Although the 2 had not yet married. In a box on the apartment's hallway floor, she said. That doesn't make logical sense, but okay. Miss Mercier looked for the children in the living room where they regularly slept. Then in the bathroom, when she couldn't find them, she called a relative in Brooklyn, thinking Boards had taken them there. A police officer was at the relative's home when she called, she said, because Boards had jumped in front of the train at about 8 p.m. That's when her instincts told her to check the bathroom, and she found the children dead. He's supposed to kill me and let the children live because they're innocent, she cried. So why would you wait behind my back? If Boards needed help, he could have asked her or even gone online to look for someone to call for support, she said. So yesterday afternoon, 2 detectives accompanied a relative of Miss Mercier to the apartment to pick up a purse, a change of clothes, and a book. Cries of anguish. Neighbors say they're still haunted by Miss Mercier's cries of anguish when she found her children dead in the 3rd floor apartment. To be completely honest, I can't even imagine what the fuck that would be like, and I can't even imagine what that would sound like. I don't even understand. I can't even begin to think what his logic was, killing those kids, and then on top of that, leaving them there for her to find. I don't know. Comment down below. Do you guys really think that it was a curse? Do you guys think he was mentally ill? Do you guys think that she's lying? Honestly, I feel like the whole story doesn't add up. I remember reading this years ago and I'm like, this shit ain't mad then. There's something missing here. There's something someone's not saying. It could be a lot of different things, but the scream, I can't even describe it, said Takesha Collins, who was showering in her first floor apartment at the time. I might have heard it in the movies, but never in real life. Stan Barton, the building superintendent, said he didn't have any complaints about Miss Mercier or Boards, who had lived there for about 3 years. He recalled interacting with the couple on only 2 occasions. 2 years ago when the children were jumping on the bed, disturbing the downstairs neighbors, and a little over a year ago when the bathroom flooded. They weren't the most popular people in the building, he said. You don't see them often. I never had a problem with them. It's like a shock. When I heard what had happened, it's unbelievable. Building residents expressed similar shock at the news. Some shook their heads in disgust, some cried, and some threw up their hands in anger and disbelief. Charlie Pomerol said his 3-year-old daughter occasionally played with Miss Mercier's children in the building's laundry room. Yesterday, he was at a loss for words. 2 innocent kids did not deserve this, said Pomerol, his voice trailing off. It's creepy. I'm just in a state of shock. Subway suicide. At the Church Street subway where Boards died in the heavily Caribbean Flatbush neighborhood of Brooklyn, commuters shuddered at the thought that someone had leapt to his death in the same station they use each day. I heard people talking about it a while ago, but it's disturbing. It was at this station, said Sean Walsh of Flatbush, who operates a Caribbean cable access TV show. He died and nobody got his side of the story, Walsh said, shaking his head and looking down. He died and nobody got his side of the story, Walsh said, shaking his head and looking down the long, partially open train platform. Edward Board said yesterday that his brother had reported arguments with Miss Mercier in the recent weeks. Miss Mercier's mother had been living in the apartment, but Boards made her leave because she was coming between them, his brother said. I think we got a little bit of a motive here. Boards had stopped taking classes at Baroque College a few months ago, according to his brother. He had aspired to a career in finance and recently held a student job at City Hall. If somebody would have told me that he did something to himself, I would understand that. But he did something to the kids. This is what I don't understand. Edward Board said that while he doesn't believe in voodoo, his brother may have taken it seriously. Some members of Staten Island's African Caribbean and African American communities interviewed yesterday admitted that voodoo has a place in their lives, but they repudiated I can't say that, the rationale for child slaying. A lot of these stories that I will be reading in this series in particular have to do with harming children. Let me just tell you this right now, that has absolutely nothing to do with the Haitian voodoo religion. A lot of these people are making excuses for their shitty actions and their desires. I have no idea what type of fucking voodoo this is, but it ain't Haitian voodoo, and I don't think it's any voodoo for that matter. If you believe in it, it can harm you or it can save you, said Abiodun Samuel of Brooklyn, who was at the West African food store in Clifton talking to friends yesterday. Samuel, a native of Africa, says he practices voodoo, but it is voodoo that is used for good. I just think he was crazy, said Marcelino Duran, owner of El Polo restaurant in Concord. Xavier Waldo, 25 of Clifton, said he believes in the existence of voodoo and black magic, but there's not enough of it in the world to make him ever lash out at his children. Miss Mercier, meanwhile, cannot contemplate how she will handle the next few days. I need to hold my children again, she said. So this is the timeline. You guys are free to read that on your own time. I'm going to link it down below. But to be quite honest with you, like I said, I really feel like he might have been mentally ill and he might have literally just somehow, some way, not like the mom and somehow conjured up the idea that the mom was doing things to him, and as a way to get back to him and the fact that the mom was in the house and his girlfriend, fiance, wife, whatever that is at this point, was not trying to get her out of the house, he decided to seek revenge and do what he did. That's just my personal opinion, and that might be a reach. Comment down below what you may think, because this story doesn't make any goddamn sense. People do not just sit there and kill 2 children in a bathtub and then go jump in front of a train. Like, it could be voodoo, but I don't know what type of voodoo this is. This is ridiculous. I feel like a lot of it is paranoia. A lot of Haitians, like I said before, are under this whole pretense of, oh my God, someone's doing this to me, someone's doing that to me, I gotta get rid of it, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Could have had an underlying mental illness that made this shit 10 times worse. Now, of course, that has to bring us to the whole hexes in relationships, right? If you guys are not aware, there's lots of people that are petty as fuck and they put hexes on people's relationships in terms of you will never be happy, you will never have kids, one day you will kill your kids. You would be surprised, but yes, there are some fucked up people out there that put those types of hexes on people. And to be quite honest with you, maybe some way, somehow, someone put a hex like that in a past life or in a past time where they were like, oh, you did this to me, well, I'm gonna make you crazy, I'm gonna make you do this, I'm gonna make you do that. Sometimes there are certain curses or certain hexes that can be put on you, and it's not even always just a voodoo thing. It could be in other types of spiritual beliefs where you can put on people where it just comes at a certain time. Like, you can literally just have it remaining dormant, and at a certain given time when it's supposed to come out, it just comes out and you just fucking start doing ridiculous shit. A lot of different things here. Like, I don't know. This one, I really feel like he just was mentally not well, and he could have just been legitimately paranoid, and that's what led to all of this mess. Woman killed her 2 sons, 5 and 8, during voodoo ritual, authorities say. Alright, so this article is from USA Today, and it says a Massachusetts mother was arrested Monday after her 2 young sons were found stabbed to death earlier that day, People confirms. LaTarsha Sanders, 43, is pictured being arraigned in Brockton, Massachusetts. Oh wow, we have another Massachusetts type of situation. A Massachusetts woman used a kitchen knife to stab 2 of her children to death and later told police it was part of a voodoo ritual, authorities said Tuesday. LaTarsha Sanders, 43, told police she attacked her 8-year-old son, Edson Marlon Brito, with a kitchen knife as part of a ritual, but failed. So she attacked her 5-year-old son, Layson Brito. Assistant Plymouth District Attorney Jessica Kenny told a judge during Sanders' arraignment on murder charges. She told police it had to do with voodoo stuff, according to a police report of their interview with her. If that don't sound like bullshit, I don't know what is. This sounds actually ridiculously, eerily similar to the first story. I literally had to click back and be like, what the fuck? Is this the same story? Am I bugging? Is this an update? Nope. 2 different idiots, 2 different cases of women sitting here literally trying to harm their children and pass it off as a voodoo shit. It's not voodoo shit. You're just fucking crazy. The older boy was stabbed 50 times and she admitted to the killing. You cannot tell me you stab your kid 50 times and you think that's okay. That's voodoo shit. If this doesn't show you how demonized voodoo has gotten, I don't know what does. This has nothing to do with voodoo. Absolutely nothing to do with any type of spiritual, religious type of practices at all. This girl is literally trying to get one of those types of like pass for killing her kids. It's absurd. She said she had stabbed him because she had failed in the ritual with Marlon, Kenny said, according to the Boston Herald. She responded to police that she felt bad about what she had done. Sanders also told investigators she mopped the blood from the floor, left the kitchen knife in the sink, cleaned up both boys, and placed them in separate beds, Kenny said. Plymouth District Attorney Timothy J. Cruz told reporters that Sanders' interview with the police was disjointed, but said investigators are not aware of Sanders having a history of mental illness. She mopped the blood from the floor, left the kitchen knife in the sink, cleaned the boys up, and placed them in separate beds. Murder, she wrote. The fuck? Sister's a murderer. Where's the ritual at? She could at least try to act like she was really trying to do a voodoo ritual. Like, let's be real. Like, come on here, right? Like, she didn't even try. This is fucking disgusting. This is probably the worst one. This is fucking ridiculous. I can't even understand how she even did that and then had the nerve, the gall, the audacity to even be able to like look her children in the face after she did what she did. That is so fucked up. You're supposed to protect your kids, bro. You sitting here killing your children and then like cleaning them up and putting them in separate. She gonna burn in hell for that one. We don't have a lot of clarity to a lot of the things she was saying at this point, Cruz said. The boys' bodies were discovered in their Brockton apartment on Monday after Sanders asked a 911 neighbor to call 911 because she was having a medical issue. When authorities arrived, the neighbors told police that there were children in the apartment, so they checked and discovered them. The boys were last seen by their grandmother on Saturday, prosecutors said. Sanders pleaded not guilty and was ordered held without bail, with her next court appearance scheduled for April 9th. Her lawyer, Joseph Krowski, said he had just begun representing her Tuesday morning and didn't comment on the specific accusations. The killings come a week after 2 sisters in the neighboring community of East Bridgewater were charged with tying down and burning and permanently disfiguring a 5-year-old girl and threatening to cut off the head of an 8-year-old brother in a voodoo ritual. Voodoo refers to the religious practices developed centuries ago by enslaved Africans in the Caribbean, primarily in Haiti, where the practices are sometimes spelled voodoo, V-O-D-O-U. So that's funny how they reference that, because these definitely did happen in close proximity of each other, right? I'm not sure if this lady's Haitian, to be quite honest with you, because her name, just looking at her name, I mean, she could be half Haitian, she could still be Haitian with that name, right? Your name doesn't automatically, you know, tell someone that you're Haitian, but for the most part, most Haitian last names, like, you could tell, you could like look and be like, bitch, you my people, bitch, you Haitian. If you want to do crazy shit, just say you want to do crazy shit. It's not okay, but don't try to blame it on a whole religion. That's so fucked up. So of course there is an update, and this actually comes from wickedlocal.com. This is, I guess, a local Brockton site, and it says, whatever happened to Brockton mother charged with killing 2 sons? Latasha Sanders, now 45, was arrested in February 2018 and charged with 2 counts of murder in the deaths of her son. Who is she? And we already went through the story and all of that extra stuff. Honestly, you guys can actually read through that yourself. It actually gets into more detail as to what happened, but we're just going to skip to the what's happening now. And it says, Sanders, who is represented by Quincy-based attorney Elliot Levine, which is interesting because that is not the same attorney as before, is still being held without bail while awaiting trial. In September, Sanders was committed to the Department of Mental Health following a court hearing that determines whether hospitalization is required for a mentally ill prisoner. She is committed at the Worcester Recovery Center and Hospital. Sanders is scheduled to appear in court on Wednesday, January 8th for a conference to review status. There's another conference to review status tentatively scheduled for April 28th. No trial date has been scheduled yet. And to be quite honest with you, with COVID and shit, I'm very sure none of that has happened. And if it has, it's probably like all over the place. So hopefully something happens there. I'm going to continue to actually follow that one because that's insane. Maybe she is mentally ill. I think this one, she might be mentally ill, because to do something like that and to clean them up and put them in bed and all of that goofy shit, that's scary. That's not voodoo. That's you most likely being mentally ill and having some legitimate issues. Being mentally ill does not necessarily make you evil, and it doesn't mean you do crazy shit like this. I'm mentally ill, okay? I'm bipolar, I have anxiety, PTSD, all this extra shit. But these people right here, they got serious problems and they need legitimate help. This is why I'm saying, like, they just might not be right in the head. And let me just clarify. Crazy, mentally ill, not the same thing. This lady I actually think is mentally ill. The guy I think was actually legitimately crazy. Might have been mentally ill, but I think he was crazy. The first ones, I think, were just ignorant and might have just been a little bit paranoid. Let me know what you think about all of these stories down below. Do you think all of these were voodoo related? Some? Why or why not? Which ones specifically? And what is a very famous Haitian voodoo story you would like me to talk about? Of course, leave all your thoughts down below. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Follow me on social media. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the main channel. And I'ma see y'all next time.